dreaded making this video a little bit. I stepped on the scale and it was one of those numbers that made me go, I really need to get this under control. And you know, it's hard for me sometimes to admit that I need to try harder. I need to do better. Hey, you guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Mindy and this is See Mindy Mom. And today I'm going to give you an update on my recent rededication to losing a little bit of weight and how I am doing with that. So stay tuned. Okay, you guys, I have dreaded making this video a little bit. I've put it off a couple of times, but I do think that making these videos, number one, holds me accountable to somebody, at least to myself. And secondly, I always get a lot of encouragement from you guys, even when I'm embarrassed to, talk about some things. And third, I also feel like it helps me process some of the things that I'm thinking, and it helps me maybe even make some discoveries about some of the things I'm doing. So bear with me. I also want to say that I am going to speak in real numbers here. I'm going to share what I used to weigh, what I'd like to weigh, how much weight I've lost, what I weigh now. I'm just going to speak in real numbers because I think that's the best way for me to get across what's going on with my body. I don't mean any offense with that, and I don't want to trigger anybody with numbers. I also don't want to belittle the progress that somebody else may have. Somebody may hear the number that I'm at and they may think, wow, why is she complaining? I would love to weigh that. And I get that. I understand. Just like I look at the person in the gym who's in that workout class and is slightly smaller than me, and I think, wow, I'd really love to be that size. Well, that person is probably thinking that about somebody who's smaller than they are, and so on and so forth. So I don't mean to demean anybody else's progress. I can only speak about myself, my own experiences, my own thoughts and feelings, and that is what I'm going to do. So to give you guys the Reader's Digest condensed version of my weight issues throughout my life, in case you're new here, I have my entire adult life been slightly overweight. I'm 5'5". I've spent a lot of time in the 160s during that time, which is about 10 to 15 pounds over the top end of my recommended weight range for my height and over the weight that I kind of feel comfortable my body carrying. I have had lots of diets that I tried through the years, lots of fad diets, lots of restrictive diets, and I would have a little bit of success in the beginning, and then eventually I would get frustrated or I would hit a plateau and I would give up, and then the weight would come back, sometimes plus some. Finally, in December of 2016, I reached a point where I felt like I was just at a tipping point. I felt like if I didn't get it under control, I was going to go into the obese category, and then it would just get harder and harder for me to get it back in control. And so I set out to lose weight. I lost a little bit on my own just by trying to make a few changes to what I was eating and very slowly chipping away at the excess weight, getting a little bit more activity. And then I joined Weight Watchers and I lost a little bit more weight until I hit what I considered to be my goal weight of 145 in January of 2018. And then I pretty much maintained that for a little over a year, like almost a year and a half, not quite. But last spring, I just kind of hit a wall with weight loss and dieting in general. I just got really fed up with it. And I felt like I was too addicted to the number on the scale and having it dictate how I felt about myself and how my day went. So I gave it up for a little while and just really tried to do some soul searching and kind of heal my mind and my heart from, all of the diet culture and mentality that I had been piling in there for so long. And it was good. It was a good thing. When I came out of that, I got really into researching metabolism and what I could do to kind of rev my metabolism back up again, because I felt like I had done so much dieting through the years that my body has adapted to this lower metabolism and I couldn't eat as much as what a regular person would eat who was my weight. And after some experimentation, I really kind of settled on about 2,000 calories a day is about what I could take in and not gain any weight. But then the stress hit. And for the last several months, my husband and I both have been experiencing a little bit of stress or a lot of stress. We're fine. Our marriage is great. Our family is fine. But we've had some stressful things going on at work. And sometimes it's a good kind of stress. And I won't go into too much detail. I'll just say that we're experiencing a lot of transition. My husband and I both work at the same place. We both work for a church. And my job in particular has changed immensely in the last year. About a year ago, they asked me to come on and help with children's music, and I started out just working a couple of hours a week. And now my job is half-time. And actually, the last 3 weeks or so, I've been working more like a full-time job. So I'm an emotional eater, I'm a stress eater, and for the past 3 or 4 months, it's just been really difficult, you know, and not trying to make excuses for myself, because I know that that's something that I deal with and will have to deal with for most of my life, but that's what's been going on. I also had surgery in June. I have been on restriction. It'll be 6 weeks tomorrow since I had my surgery, and I'll have my final post-op with my doctor next week, so hopefully I'll be cleared to go back to all of my regular activities, including more strenuous workouts, because all I've been able to do for the past 6 weeks is walk, and even then I'm walking pretty slowly. After my surgery, I went back to my doctor for my 2-week post-op, and I stepped on the scale, and it was one of those numbers that made me go, I really need to get this under control. I also was wearing all my clothes. I was wearing all my shoes. I had things to eat or drink. It was the day after a holiday. It was the day after 4th of July. So I didn't really want to use that as my starting point for this. So I actually started the next day. It was July 6th. I started to track my food in MyFitnessPal. I set a daily caloric goal of 1,700 calories in hopes that I would just very slowly shed some weight. But it was actually a couple days after that that I stepped on the scale for kind of a starting number. And that number was 154.8. So I tracked my calories. I tried to stay within 1,700 calories. I got my steps in, did my walking, and the first week I lost 0.8. And the next week, I was a little frustrated because I wasn't seeing the scale go down, but by the end of the week it did, and it went down 0.6. And then the next week rolled around and the scale did not budge. In fact, it went up. And I thought, well, you know, my birthday was this week. We had a lot of events this week. I'll just kind of really, you know, really get serious about it this week. And then I'll be able to give like a monthly recap, and I'll be able to report a really good number. And I saw a couple of different numbers because I have one of those scales that sometimes I have to step on it a few times because it's not consistently giving me the same number, but I know it's usually in the ballpark. The highest number it gave me was 154.2, and the lowest number it gave me was 153.2. So I took the middle of that, 153.6, which means that my total weight loss for the month of July is 1.2 pounds. And I know that on the one hand, okay, it's moving in the right direction. On the other hand, I would think, okay, in my first month of trying to get back on track, even though I'm not as restrictive as I have been in the past, I would still see a little bit more of a drop. So, you know, I was kind of disappointed with that. So I thought to myself, okay, let's be brutally honest here. Let's really take a look at what I did this past month. 25 days since July 6th when I started. And I went back into my tracker. And I don't think I was aware of the number of days that I was not really tracking honestly. And by that, I mean that I wasn't completing my food diary for the day. There were only 10 days that I was really completing it. And there were 3 days when I did not track at all. I didn't enter anything. There were several days when I stopped tracking after breakfast, and there were even more days when I stopped tracking after lunch. Now, a few of those days when I didn't track my dinner, I know that I had already looked it up in MyFitnessPal earlier in the day, and I knew what the calories were. I just didn't track them right then because I wasn't sure how much I was going to have. So in my head, you know, I knew I had the calories for it. But even if half of those incomplete days... even if half of those incomplete days I was within my correct calorie goal of 1,700 calories, that still meant that 3 days I didn't track at all, and 6 days I stopped tracking because I just threw in the towel and gave up for the day and ate whatever I wanted, which means that 9 days out of those 26 days I really wasn't on track, and I really wasn't staying within the boundaries that I had set for myself. So when it comes to progress, I don't think it's fair to blame the plan that I'm trying to follow because I'm not following the plan. You know, the past month I have really had a little bit of anxiety with, what if I'm not doing the right thing? Maybe I should go back to Weight Watchers. Maybe I should try keto again. Maybe I should do that. And the problem with that is that those things, for whatever reason, were not working for me for a while. And I'm not saying they don't work for other people. And I'm not saying that Weight Watchers wouldn't work for me again. Maybe I will go back to that eventually. But for right now, what I'm trying to do is something that's a little bit less restrictive and more sustainable in the long run. So even if I am only able to lose 1 to 2 pounds a month, I feel like that would be more sustainable weight loss. Before I throw the towel in on this plan and try another weight loss plan, I really need to give this plan actually 100% of my effort, or at least 90%. Because right now, the way I'm working it, I'm only like working at 65% of the time. That's a D, you guys. That's a D. I can't grade this diet based on that effort for me. And you know, it's hard for me sometimes to admit that I need to try harder. I need to do better. Does that mean that one day I won't be able to be a little bit less restrictive and less strict in my tracking? You know, maybe not. Maybe the best plan for me is eventually to be one of those people who tracks and who diets for 5 or 6 days a week, and then you have a day a week where you take a little bit of a break from it. Maybe that will work for me. But right now, if I want to drop the extra pounds that I'm carrying around that are making me feel frumpy, that are making my clothes not fit right, that are making me feel less good about my body, you know, if I want to drop those pounds, I'm going to have to be a little bit more diligent with the plan that I'm trying to work and actually work the plan. So, what am I going to do moving forward? First of all, I'm going to take a minute and I'm going to be thankful for some of the things that are going well. You know, the scale went down. At the very least, I've pretty much maintained where I am and I haven't put on more weight, even though it's been a stressful month. I was thinking back to all the things that we've done. We have, my birthday was in this month. We went out of town to visit my parents this month. We have hosted 2 separate gatherings for over 60 people in our own house this month. We have also been to 2 additional gatherings that were a work function for us, where even though it was a dinner, it was a working dinner. We have had a couple of other social engagements this month with friends. And I have been working more. I've been putting in more like full-time job hours instead of half-time job hours. So the fact that I'm getting out of this month with all of that happening and basically being slightly under even on the scale, I'm really grateful. I'm also really grateful that my body is working for me. I may be a little bit sore. I may be still recovering from my surgery, but I have a body that moves for me. I have a body that completes the tasks in my day. For me, I have a body that helps me keep my house, play with my kids, cook the meals, do the work that I enjoy doing at the church, and I am really, really grateful for that. But I have decided that I need to challenge myself a little bit, and I need to be honest with myself more, not just saying, well, it's not working. Well, you know, it's not working because I'm not working it. So I have decided that I'm going to commit to this for 10 days. I can do anything for 10 days, right? I'm going to commit to it for 10 days, not even a whole month. Before I decide to throw in the towel and try something else, I am going to commit to this for 10 days. And for 10 days, I'm going to track everything that I eat, and I'm going to complete my tracker each day, and I'm going to come in at or around 1,700 calories. 1,700 calories or slightly less, and not go over that. And at the end of that 10 days, I'm going to step on the scale again. And I likely won't see a huge plummet, but if the scale is dipping a little bit and I have done everything, including, you know, my activity, continuing to walk, then I know that that plan is working and that if I work the plan, it's going to work for me. So, you know, I'm putting this out there because it's going to hold me accountable, because I can do some what I eat in a days with you guys, because I can share my FitnessPal with you guys. I'll take a screenshot at the end of each day and include those in my videos so that I can have some accountability and you guys can all walk through this with me. And at the end of the 10 days, I'll step on the scale again and we'll just see where I am. And then I'll know, okay, this plan works as long as I work the plan. So that's a lot of information, and I could go on and on, you guys. I could probably talk. There's probably stuff I've left out that I've been thinking about all day to tell you guys, but there'll be another video, right, where I can share that stuff. I appreciate you coming along with me. I would love it if you give this video a thumbs up, and if you subscribe if you have not already, leave me a comment, a kind comment, if you will, and let me know how you guys are doing. I always like engaging with you in the comment section. I'm trying to keep up with that a little bit better now that I'm recovering from my surgery. So leave me a comment and I'll check in with you guys again very soon. Bye.